Rodnik,
Yes, sir.
yeah, it's best. I think you must practice that thing now.
Okay, I'm not the co-host at the moment.
Okay, no, don't worry.
Okay.
So the best thing is that document must be open. It must be open, and then so that by the time you share, you can easily access it.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah. Now you
Oh,
see now here it's in the proper presentation mode.
oh,
Yeah. So this is how you must have it.
okay, no problem.
Yeah. It seems like you have it these things.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, you're muted.
Oh, thank you so much. Honorable members, we just about to start. I just want to give you an extra minute to be ready so that we start our session. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Honorable members, thank you so much for waiting. I think now is the time for the meeting to start. Good morning to all of you, honorable members, and to any other person who has logged in this session of the Portfolio Committee for Public Enterprises. Today, we will be getting a presentation from the content advisor who have been part of this session when we were doing the investigation, which is a task we were given by the Speaker to investigate the allegation from the former public enterprise DG. And then at this moment, after a very long process, we will have to give a report to the Speaker on the journey we have traveled up to so far. We will also have to complete our task formally. This session is intending to do that. It's not supposed to be a very long session because the document was sent to honorable members in time. Without giving the Secretary an opportunity to present us with the apologies. There is an apology that I know for a fact that it was sent to me by Honorable Gondwe, who will not be attending due to some party-related reason. Therefore, that's the only person. I don't know if the Secretary have other people who have forwarded their apology for this session. Secretary?
Good morning, Chairperson. Just to briefly introduce myself, I'm Temi Gosingoma, and I'm standing in for Mr. Mukumi. Chair, the apology you read is the only one that we have received. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I was also supposed to have introduced you because Mr. Muchumi was not part of this process, and we have been having the content advisor as our secretary, acting secretary. Now that he will be the person who is doing presentation, he won't be able to take minutes of this meeting. Therefore, Mr. Temgosi Ngoma is going to be the person who will be acting as a secretary to this session. Thank you, Mr. Ngoma, for availing yourself for that particular responsibility.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to this committee. Honorable members, without wasting any of our time, we will have to get the presentation. Mr. Mnisi, I know for a fact that you are a very long talking person, but in this instance, we received the document in time. You just got to key issues up until the end, not necessarily dwelling on the whole content of the report, but just key issues of the report, and the honorable members will come. After that, I will ask after your presentation, I will ask the legal advice also to come in, and then we give to the members to deliberate. Yeah, thank you, honorable members. Mr. Mnisi.
Good morning, Chairperson. Thank you for your time, and good morning, members.
Mr. Mnisi, is it possible to appear like I do on the screen? I will switch mine off so that you can be the dominant face here.
Chair, because of network issues, I have a problem appearing, but I will try to start the video. Am I visible?
Yes, you are.
You look handsome.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to share the presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, the presentation is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you, Chair. As you've said, that the report was circulated on Monday and everyone has read it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it so that I allow members to deliberate on the content of the report and also in determining the way forward. Something is okay. The report covers introduction, petition of former Director General Mr. Tlhagodi, supplementary submission of former Director General, responses of the Minister of Public Enterprises to the allegations, legal opinion on the petition, the former Director's presentation to the committee, the Minister of Public Enterprises response to the former Director General's presentation to the committee, evidence and information obtained, committee findings, and you'll see at the last it says committee recommendations. These are the recommendations that are going to come from today's meeting in terms of determining the way forward and its conclusion. The background information, as you know, was provided by the chairperson in his remarks in one of the meetings that we had with Mr. Tlakudi. It actually covers how the petition came to the committee. The committee, having received the petition from the former Director General of Public Enterprises, Mr. Tlakudi, processed the petition in line with the powers vested in it by the National Assembly rules. Rule 167 of the National Assembly empowers the committee to receive petitions, representations, or submissions from interested persons or institutions, permit oral evidence on petitions, representations, submissions, and any other matter before the committee. The petition from Mr. Tlakudi came on the 27th October 2022, and he raised some of the issues related to, he made a protected disclosure to the President and the Speaker, in which he made allegations against the Minister, Mr. Pravin Gordhan. The disclosure was made in terms of the Protected Disclosure Act number 26 of 2000. And the issues were also highlighted by the chairperson in his remarks when we had the meeting with the former Director General. And on October, there was supplementary information that came through to the committee. And the allegations included, but was not limited to, the following: the choice of Takatso was irregular, and then was no process by the Constitution Public Financial Management Act, Preferential and Procurement Act, and other prescripts that have been followed. It raised issues of valuation, and Takatso had pledged to provide 3 billion in working capital to the structured airline post-transaction. The DG had not seen a due diligence report and would suggest that Takatso has these funds. That suggests that Takatso has these funds. The share sale and purchase agreement was signed by the acting DG in February 2022 in a capacity to Ms. Jackie Modisana, and led to a commitment that DPE provide 900 in an escrow account controlled by Takatso. These are background information that was provided in the supplementary information by the former DG. And there was a response, a written response, which was done by the minister on the 27th October 2023. The minister, Mr. Pravin, submitted a written reply to the speaker regarding the allegations made against him by former Director General, Mr. Tlakudi. And some of the issues he raised are issues that says Mr. Tlakudi's suspension and disciplinary processes were entirely unrelated to the matter. The catalyst was received by the Public Service Commission and alleged unethical behavior in terms of the recruitment process to Director Security and Facilities. As we know, these allegations, these issues that were raised by the minister led to the suspension and also dismissal of the former Director General. So on 3rd March, the chairperson of the committee wrote Parliamentary Legal Services to seek legal advice on how the committee should proceed in relation to the following: if there are any acts by the executive that require an investigation by the committee. If there is a correct body to deal with such matter, if it has something to do with the executive's code, ethics code, if yes, the process should the committee follow in processing a complaint of this nature. The advice was given by the chief legal advisor to say that in view of the foregoing, after having dealt with issues of regulatory framework and issues of the mandate of the committee, he is saying in view of the foregoing matter, we are of the view that Mr. Tlakudi's submission deals with a matter of national importance and the committee cannot merely ignore it. Moreover, there is no ordinary submission, and as it is a disclosure made in terms of PDA, and for that reason, it imposes legal obligations on the committee to deal with in terms of the prescribed time frames. And then it deals with the issues of the executive's ethics code neither prevents nor inhibits parliament's exercise of oversight over the executive. Finally, the power and the duty, amongst other available tools at its disposal, to schedule a meeting with the minister and to put the said allegations to him. There is no impediment for the committee pursuing an investigation into Mr. Tlakudi's submission or disclosure in the performance of its oversight functions. And then we deal with the issue of the former director's presentation, which was made to the committee on the 7th June 2023. The purpose of the presentation was to deal with the context within which he made the allegations against the minister. In his presentation, he outlined merits of his case with the department, which led to the decision of him being dismissed. And then we dealt with the issue of the minister's presentation to the committee on the 12th September 2023. And he outlined that he also wrote the committee on the 27th March 2023. He made these points. Any assertion of corrupt behavior on the minister's part and the department's part is rejected outrightly. The minister stated that allegations are more of a political campaign than a general set of concerns. The minister covered and responded to 16 of the allegations raised by the former Director General. In the evidence that we obtained from the minister, we obtained an information. We obtained the PPP verification certificate of Harris General Partners Pty Ltd 2021, which says it was a level 4 contributor in terms of the BEE verification certificate. Harris General Partners due diligence report, which actually looked at Harris Partners. They also looked at issues of risks, the service level agreement, the global aviation operations due diligence report also looked at the partners, the management and directors and the shareholders, and also issues of risks as well in terms of the anti-bribery and corruption policies. They also looked at that. And then the service level, the mandate letter from Rand Merchant Bank, terms of the mandate from the Rand Merchant Bank, actually, and an affidavit from Takatsu. We also received a valuation report dated 14 December 2021. But in this valuation, the minister has already highlighted that a different valuation is in progress. The outstanding documents which were requested from the minister are the following: the short list of selected entities from which a final determination was made, evaluation report performed by the Rand Merchant Bank, share sale and purchase agreement. There was communication between the chairperson's office and the minister cited issues of conflict and non-disclosure as a reason for not submitting this document, and then he committed to say that these documents can be obtained post the transaction. So it has been difficult to determine whether the issues raised were substantively dealt with in terms of the merits of the transaction, and also in terms of the transaction itself, because we couldn't get this information. In terms of the findings, I think this is where the committee needs to deal with findings and also the issues of recommendations and a way forward. So the committee commended the former Director General for entrusting the committee with the responsibility to investigate allegations of irregularity in the South African Airways transaction. The committee acknowledged the time frame stipulated in the Protracted Disclosure Act in terms of processing of a disclosure. However, the committee sought to exercise caution, diligence, and patience with the affected parties to ensure a fair and a credible process. The committee afforded all parties an opportunity to state their side of the story and to submit all material evidence to support and counter the allegations brought before the committee. The committee raised concerns that the documents that the minister failed to submit were critical to the committee for the committee to test the veracity of the allegations. Hence, the failure of the minister to submit that evidence have not assisted the process and have not provided the committee with tangible evidence to persuade the committee not to believe some of the allegations made by the former Director General. The lack of transparency on the SAA transaction and the lack of documentary evidence further cast suspicion and doubt on whether the transaction was indeed above board. The committee has acknowledged that there is a lack of a clear regulatory framework for a strategic equity partnership transaction from the Department of Public Enterprises, and has put government at risk with respect to transaction. The minister was mandated by the Auditor General of South Africa to develop a framework which still need to be submitted to the committee. In terms of conclusion and recommendations, the committee will have to determine the way forward based on these findings, and if there are any additions to these findings, we will welcome them. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Mnisi. Can we get the legal advice? Mr. Tekiana?
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to the honorable members and my colleagues. I'm not sure, Chair, if you can hear me. I'm afraid that I might experience instability in terms of my connection. Perhaps through you, you can indulge me to address you whilst my camera is off.
We can hear you and see you too.
Okay, if I disappear, Chair, I don't take any responsibility. Chairperson, perhaps let me, Chair, I will cut to the chase. There's this saying that I like, I think it's a Shakespearean saying that says, brevity is the soul of wit. So I'll cut to the chase, Chair. Chair, you will recall that the Speaker referred this matter to this committee on the 20th of November, 2022. So it's been more than a year since the committee has been seized with this matter. Chairperson, you will recall that when the minister appeared before this committee on the 12th of September, and I think that appears in the report as well, that the minister said, look, they differ with the manner in which legal services has approached this matter. And of course, they were raising the issue of whether what Mr. Tlakudi revealed was a public disclosure. Sorry, a protected disclosure, I'm sorry. Chairperson, I just want to take the committee to section 56D of the Constitution, which says that the National Assembly or any of its committees may receive petitions, representations, or submissions from any interested persons or institutions. So the point we're raising, Chair, is that the committee should not be defocused. Whether what Mr. Tlakudi has presented to the committee is a protected disclosure or a petition or a submission is neither here nor there. So with respect, Chair, it is of no moment for the minister to keep harping on that particular point, because the fact of the matter is, whether it's a submission, which we foreshadow in terms of the opinion that we provided to the committee, and of course you will see when Mr. Mnisi was flighting his slides, he referred to it as a petition. And in our opinion, we refer to it as a submission. But in the same opinion, Chair, you will recall that you had asked us to answer 3 questions. And at the time when we dealt with the opinion, we didn't have background information, because remember, Chair, the issue about whether this is a protected disclosure or not, those are technical legal issues. And of course, the committee should not be involved at that level. Chairperson, I'll just cite 2 of the allegations which the former DG has made. So I won't list all of them. So the first one, Chair, is that the sale of SAA was orchestrated by Mr. Gordhan to benefit a few privileged individuals who were favored by the minister in an irregular manner. That's the first one. The second one, Chair, is that Mr. Gordhan engaged Mr. Gideon Novik and Mr. Vangata Krishna to engineer the introduction of Mr. Novik to Harith to introduce Tagazo, as it was not shortlisted as a strategic equity partner based on the report developed by the DPE. Now, Chairperson, perhaps let me take the committee into confidence about the fact that I have been part of a team which has been involved in the toing and froing of correspondence between us, and then when I say us, I'm saying the committee and the ministry. And of course, if you look at Rule 158, 2B of National Assembly rules, so that you don't put the chairperson in trouble regarding this, it allows the chairperson of a committee, subject to other provisions of these rules, it says the chairperson may act in any matter on behalf of and in the best interest of the committee when it is not practical to arrange a meeting of the committee to discuss that matter. So there's been documents which we requested from the minister, and of course, those documents are documents which the minister had undertaken to provide to the committee when the minister appeared before the committee on the 12th. Now, I just want to take the committee. I know that at the risk of preaching to the converted, this point is important though. That section 92(2) of the Constitution says that members of the cabinet are accountable collectively and individually to Parliament for the exercise of their powers and the performance of their functions. Now, that is also amplified, of course, in Rule 167 D of the Assembly Rules, and I'll only refer to the committee to 167A, where it says the committee may summon any person to appear before it, to give evidence on oath or affirmation, or to produce documents. And F says the committee may determine its own working arrangements. Now, you will recall that the former DG supplemented his submission. I think it was on the 29th of October. And he made bold that Takatso Consortium was not part of the shortlist by RMB. Former DG provided some of the WhatsApp messages with Mr. Novick, where he, when I say he, I'm referring to Mr. Novick, provided feedback that he had missed the board's shortlisting process. And the former DG then makes this bold assertion that no evidence that Takatso had the financial and technical capacity to consummate the transaction. Now, honorable members and chairperson, there's been a number of documents we requested, because we said the committee has to satisfy itself that everything, I mean, with the transaction was above board. But to date, there are two documents which we have not received. The first one is the shortlist of selected entities from which a final determination was made. And the second one is the share sale and purchase agreement. Now, the minister has on several occasions cited the confidentiality clauses that he entered with other parties as a reason for not providing the necessary information. Now, Chairperson, I don't know what the committee makes of this, because the minister accounts here, this is a big transaction which has a huge public element, because public monies are being used. And of course, perhaps the kind of an example that I use, analogy, maybe analogous. But the fact of the matter is that you have a board, which is you as the committee, and you've got the minister as the CEO. And you want to have sight of salient information regarding this transaction. And you are told that, no, I'm not going to give it to you because I'm protecting third parties and so on. Now, at no point has the minister said, I am prepared to give this information to the committee in camera, so that the committee can look at these documents and make a determination whether what is in the documents is something that the committee can publish. In other words, where the committee would say, okay, we've looked at the documents and we think that having looked at them, you are correct in saying that we are not going to make them to avail them for public consumption. But at least as the committee, we have satisfied ourselves that Takatso, for instance, I'm just making an example, was part of the shortlisted entities and so on and so on and so on. Now, the second document is the share sale and purchase agreement. Now, what is a share sale and purchase agreement? This is very much important. It is a formal contract or an agreement that sets out the terms and conditions relating to the sale and purchase of shares in a company. The share purchase agreement should very clearly set out, 1, what is being sold, 2, to whom and for how much, 3, as well as any other obligations and liabilities. So this is a document, this is another document where the committee is told that, no, you are not going to have sight of it. Chairperson, you will recall that the Auditor General has made unfavorable observations about this transaction. And if I may quote, it says the DPE did not follow a formal process for the invitation, evaluation, and adjudication of proposals from interested parties to identify the successful or preferred strategic equity partner. It says no evidence that proposals were fairly evaluated based on a predetermined criteria. Now, this is not me, Chair, this is not the committee, but this is the Auditor General regarding this transaction. Chairperson, we know for the fact that the SIU has also said to Scope that they are looking at this transaction. But Chair, perhaps because as I promised, Chair, I'm not going to be long. Chairperson, regarding the way forward, and of course, these are the options which this committee must exercise, Chair. We have two documents, Chair, which are central to the allegations that were made, which of course the minister has refused, to make available to this committee. And of course, Chair, we find ourselves in a situation now where we have one version. And I think a reasonable inference, Chairperson, could be drawn that the fact of the matter is this transaction is shrouded in secrecy, Chairperson. And of course, one version being we have the version of the former DG, insofar as what could be contained in the two documents which the minister is reluctant to share with the committee. Chairperson, you will recall that there's a document called Parliament's Oversight and Accountability Model. And that document provides mechanisms in which uncooperative members of the executive may be reported to the leader of government business, which is the deputy president in this instance, via the Speaker's office. So in this regard, Chairperson, the committee may provide a report to the Speaker and report the minister's uncooperative conduct. The Speaker may be requested to take this issue up with the leader of government business, which is the deputy president. The second option which the committee has, Chairperson, is that the committee can invoke Section 56A of the Constitution. It may summon the minister to appear before it, to give evidence on oath of affirmation, or to produce the documents which the committee has not been given. The third one, Chairperson, is that, of course, it is within the view of this committee to pronounce itself to the entire transaction and declare that it cannot give unqualified support to this transaction, given that the particulars pertaining to the transaction are shrouded in secrecy. Chairperson, we're in your hands, we're the administration, we're not elected, you are elected, and of course, those are the elections. So those are the options which the committee may exercise its powers. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'll leave it there for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Techana. Honorable members, that is the presentation we got from Mr. Mnisi, which we're all familiar with. Mr. Mnisi didn't bring anything new here. All what he did, he brought to us in a way of reminding us on the road we have traveled and the steps we have been following until at this point. Therefore, it's more of we did this and did this and this and this and where to go from now. And that one reside with us. It's us who now supposed to provide that particular direction so that we close this part of our road. I will start with the Honorable Mkhwanazi and followed with
Chair, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. It's Samantha Graham-Maria. Chairperson, I missed the last way forward from Mr. Techana. I didn't get clarity on what he was saying. I've got the way forward in terms of the oversight and accountability model and the section 56A, but I couldn't quite hear what he was saying with respect to the third way forward. Could I ask that he just revisit that before we start the deliberations, please?
Mr. Techana?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairperson. No, Chairperson, these are just options, Chairperson, which the committee may exercise. And of course, Honorable Maria is correct about the one regarding the oversight and accountability model. And the second one, Honorable Maria, I was talking about the committee invoking its right in terms of Section 56A of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Because there, the committee or the National Assembly may summon the documents which the minister in which the minister has adopted an uncooperative spirit by not making them available to the committee. So that was the second point. The third point I was saying, given the fact that without these two key documents, the committee cannot give an unqualified support to the transaction. And the reason would be that given that we have the committee has got one version, in other words, from the former Director General, then a reasonable inference can be made that the transaction itself is shrouded in secrecy. Because I don't know what is difficult, Chairperson, by proposing an in-camera sitting where the committee will look at these documents and the committee make a determination whether it agrees with the minister, whether the subject matter of the documents cannot be released for public consumption. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, thank you, Mr. Techana. Honorable members, that is the report. I will give each member now to air his views or her views, and then we will go to our conclusion.
Chair, before we air our views, I just wanted to get through you to get a proper understanding on the basis of section 56A, the one that is advising, because it's an advice. So how does it read? Remember, this portfolio today, it has been live streamed and it's on YouTube. For the purpose of all of us, some of us, can the state law advisor read the section 56A? If because the advice also says we can, or yourself as a chair, you can invoke that. Can the state law advisor read the section 56A, please, with your permission?
Yeah, but honorable members, you can just quickly Google that, man, or take your constitution. But
I'm unable to do that. If I can tell you, Chair, I dropped 56 k's away from home. I don't have electricity, no. There was a serious lightning. I had to drive away. So I'm using one gadget.
Okay, Honorable Perry. Can you quickly help us there, Mr. Chejana?
Yes, Chairperson. Chairperson, section 56 of the Constitution deals with evidence or information before a National Assembly. So 56A reads as follows, Chairperson. The National Assembly or any of its committees may summon any person to appear before it, to give evidence on oath or affirmation, or to produce documents. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable members, let's engage the presentation. I want to start with, as I said, Ms. Mkwanase, followed by Mr. Isaac and Ms. Maotwe. Yes, that three.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will switch on and off the video because I'm really not in a good space where I am. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much. Greetings to all the honorable members and everyone that is in the platform. Thank you very much for giving us the background, just to refresh us on the matter and the advice or the presentation by the legal advice after the content advisor. Thank you very much for that. But Honorable Chairperson, I first want to note the responsibility of the Portfolio Committee, because the matter was the matter of the Speaker referred to us as this Portfolio Committee. That is my first input. Secondly, Chair, I think I must note with concerns the delay that was especially from the Office of the Minister on the issue of dates, meetings, document submission from that office to delay the process that was supposed to be done by this portfolio committee. Thirdly, Chair, I just want to commend the portfolio committee for its availability and the way it deliberated on this matter. The matter, as you correctly said, the matter was supposed to take 3 or to 6, maximum 6 months, but the delay that we got from the minister's office, it had taken us longer than expected. But I have two issues. I just want to propose to the portfolio committee to support the recommendation by the legal advice, the recommendation number 2. Based on this, Chair, the 2 outstanding documents for me, Chairperson, are the important documents on this matter. The first document, which is the share sale, I think as ordinary citizens, as ordinary South Africans, we very much want to understand and the description of the purchase and who purchased. We want to understand the purchase amount and the agreement. So that document, it is important. The second document that is really of an interest in the whole matter is the document of the shortlisted companies that produces Staccato as the partner. So that document is very important. And as of now, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, if we don't have that document and those reports in details, we only have one version, which is the version of the former DG that was presented to the committee. So for that, Chair, because the government were part of that sitting, that made funds available, government funds available for the SAA. So for that, Chair, for that submission that I'm making, Chair, I want to propose that we take the report as it is after this portfolio committee meeting back to the Speaker for the Speaker to institute Section 56A of the Constitution as the legal advice advised us. For now, Chairperson, thank you very much. That will be my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mkwanazi. Honorable Isaac.
Good morning, Chairperson, colleagues on the committee. Thank you for the opportunity. Chairperson, here it is in fact, a very detailed presentation that we do have in front of us. And as all of us are aware that there have been various meetings and discussions around this issue. And of course, I recall that on the 9th of November, looking at my notes, in our meeting when Advocate Jenkins, who's our legal advisor also in Parliament, made it very, very succinctly clear that, of course, it is up to us as the committee to hold the executive to account in terms of Rule 227, if I recall correctly. Then there were discussions about financial statements, etc., etc. But nevertheless, Chairperson, as the situation may be, if one has to look at what is before us here today, it is my opinion that this matter, Chairperson, this matter is definitely based on the advice in 4.5 of the presentation. It's a matter of national importance. Lots has been said and discussed regarding state capture, etc. But nevertheless, in terms of the performance of the department, in terms of the discussions around the privatization of some state-owned companies, there's been lots said and discussed both here in the committee as well as in the media. The issue of SAA, Chairperson, you know as well as my colleagues know, has been an absolute can of worms for a very, very long time, and this was expressed at SCOPA on a number of occasions in their various deliberations regarding SAA, the SAA board, the fact that the chairperson, Mr. Derek Hanekom, has also conceded that SAA has been undervalued. The DG, of course, the suspended DG, or shall I say Mr. Tlakude, has made very, very strong allegations in paragraph 5.33, which we all have in front of us. Now, considering these allegations, as well as the valuation of the SAA assets, and the fact that Mr. Tlakude also strongly says that, in his opinion, the undervaluation in SAA in terms of its assets is anywhere between 7 billion and 15 billion compared to what it's been valued at in terms of its shares of 51 rand. I mean, it's somewhat mind-boggling, if I can put it to you that way. But nevertheless, Chairperson, I think to be brief, seeing that we've had many discussions around this issue, 5.3.6 paragraph alludes to due diligence. And of course, Mr. Tlakude makes very, very strong allegations in paragraph 5.3.6 of our presentation, where he mentions that Takatso had absolutely no financial and technical capacity to consummate this transaction. And I think 5.38 obviously all just sums it up very, very clearly. So, Chairperson, I think based on the advice and the discussion we've just had thus far, I am in full support of the advice by the legal advisor that we also move ahead in terms of the plan to invoke the deliberation with the minister in camera and to get the necessary documents regarding the sale, which obviously we have had no sight of, and we move ahead pretty expediently with this matter, Chairperson. I will stop there for now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ishak. Honorable Maoto.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to your good self, the colleagues, and the support staff that is here today. Chair, let me also start by saying that and register the disappointment in the manner in which the minister has handled this matter. He has not provided a credible response to the allegations by the former DG, and as such, it gives us as a committee, makes our lives very difficult because we're sitting with just one side, and I mean the constant requests and follow-ups on the outstanding documents that are never forthcoming. You ask yourself whether even those documents really exist. And us as the committee, we're expected to give an opinion, and ascertain ourselves whether there was substance to the allegations made or not. But when we try to do our work and then we don't get the cooperation from one party, it makes it very difficult. But also we should not ignore, as the presenter was saying, the AG audit finding on the lack of process in the appointment of Takatso itself. And with now these allegations and the documents that are not forthcoming, I think, Chair, we must, without, going back to the merits of this and who did what and what happened, I think we should just agree that we request the Speaker to appoint an ad hoc committee to investigate the Tagato transaction in its entirety. And then that ad hoc committee will make representation or recommendations to Parliament and relevant agencies for further processing. Because if, Chair, we are going to try, I mean, we've been trying, like the previous speaker was saying, that this process was supposed to take 6 months. It took longer because of postponements, unavailability, requesting documents not forthcoming. We are sitting here now, sitting as a committee, even beyond the term, the 4th term of Parliament, because there's just no progress on the side of the minister. There's no cooperation, to put it bluntly. So I think, Chair, we must all agree that let's rather ask the Speaker, write to the Speaker, recommend to the Speaker to appoint an ad hoc committee that will investigate this matter forward. And in that same recommendation, then also say to the Speaker, perhaps the Public Protector must also be involved and be asked to investigate the conduct of the Minister himself and submit the recommendation to the President. Because in any case, the President, in assessing the former DG's protected disclosure, he said he might be guided by Parliament recommendations. So there must be a parliamentary process that gets undertaken that will guide the President on the conduct of the Minister himself. And that the last one, Chair, is that we should really then united say, let Tagato transaction be put on ice for now until the ad hoc committee has concluded its work, so that we move with forward with a transaction that all of us we can account for. As it stands, the public is looking at us, asking for us for questions, for answers. The answers which we don't have because we don't get cooperation from the minister. So I think let's agree on that, Chair, that let it be put on ice until such time that all these processes have been concluded and everybody moves now knowing exactly what happened and how we find ourselves in wherever we are, and we move solidly like that. That will be my input for now, Chair. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Maotwa. Honorable Damin.
Thanks, Chair. Morning, colleagues. I won't take much of your time, colleagues. For me, I want to make a small comment on the recommendation on the Section 56 process. Outside of having to take an oath, it would really be repetitive of the same process that we've just we are trying to conclude. I think we have sufficient grounds to assume that that process has not yielded the desired result. It therefore means we must proceed with handing over the matter to the office of the Speaker as the office that brought it to us, and give a report in terms of what we did and what were the challenges. I'm not too sure of the opinion that we need to express, or whether we should express such an opinion or not, or our report should just focus on the work done. Because we already have expressed ourselves as this committee that we need to advocate for a renegotiation of this deal so that it becomes more favorable to the government than it currently is. Subsequent to that position, subsequent to us taking that position, colleagues should remember that we met with the board, with the new board. And out of that meeting, we were supposed to take an oversight visit to SAA, which was cancelled on the 11th hour. And it's almost becoming a norm now that our oversight visits are not approved. Then one must ask himself, because this deal was approved by the Competition Commission, do we still have the necessary reach to interrogate how did they arrive at that decision with us having these concerns that we are having around this deal? Maybe the next logical thing, Chair, is to give the report to the Speaker, and she will know what to do in terms of bringing it to the attention of the lead of government business and taking it forward. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Dlamini. Now is Honorable Grammar.
Thank you so much, Chair. Please excuse me, my signal's not great. Chair, yeah, I mean, much has been said. I appreciate the input from the legal advisor, and I'd like to thank everybody involved, including you, Chairperson, for the work that's been done on this whole issue. I think it's been very difficult to navigate. And when you're looking at a he said, she said scenario, one would expect that whoever's being accused would certainly be the most likely to provide what is required to determine their innocence in a situation like this. And as there has been pointed out, the two most critical documents that have been requested have been withheld. So that definitely does cast aspersions on the narrative of the minister. I would like to agree with the recommendations made by the legal advisor, and do believe that I actually think that we need to follow all three of those. I do think that we need to write to the Speaker to say that the minister has been uncooperative, and that the specific documents that have been required have been withheld for whatever reason, and then to summons him in terms of Section 56A in camera for the portfolio committee to ascertain whether or not these documents require confidentiality, or whether or not they can be placed in the public sphere. At the end of the day, whatever is happening here, this is a public enterprise. It belongs to the people of this country and not to the minister. And as a result, I believe that transparency is absolutely imperative in the sale of any of the public enterprises. So I would support the three recommendations laid out by the legal advisor to the portfolio committee this morning. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mare. Now it's Honorable Gumede.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chair, for this opportunity, and greetings to all members of the committee, as well as all other people that are on the platform. Chair, let me say thanks again to have reached this point. As a committee, we don't seem to differ much. We have a kind of consensus. Thanks to Mr. Mnisi for his presentations, which in fact it's welcomed, as well as the analogy, the legal advice from Andy. Chair, firstly, let me say I wish to support the input by Honorable Mkhwanazi, that today, in fact, we go, because she went for the support of 56A, invoking that. That's agreed. The only thing that we are very dry on is the information. We do need this information. The purpose that one supports the view is that, yes, that's true. As much as there may be some counter views that are saying it will be the same exercise if the minister is adamant to provide to us these reports. It may be a similar exercise as well with Section 56, with Section 56A. But I think now the only difference may be that we would be having a little bit broader and powers coming from all other corners, as well as I think the chief whip will have to be alerted. A copy that goes to the speaker, if permissible, should as well be copied to the chief whip, so that we are all in unison. We all have a very powerful kind of a front. Chair, as well, I support some input as presented by Honorable Maote. As much as I'm saying the ad hoc committee may be a little bit premature, which then makes me support the view by Honorable Dlamini that if this report goes to the speaker and it's a conclusion to us, it's a speaker that thereafter will determine how it takes the process forward. My fear as well with the ad hoc committee is if the minister is not willing to do that without any punitive measures, we are not different from the ad hoc committee, because in fact one would expect that the minister should have respected this committee other than respecting the ad hoc committee. So in a sense, it may perhaps the ad hoc committee be required at a later stage, but not at the stage up until the report is given to the speaker. Chair, I wish to add, if one takes the view from Andile, because my worry is it looks as if the process as we look at it still continues, and it continues very fast. By the time we conclude the report, everything would have been sealed. All what we are recommending or talking about today would have been concluded. Those matters then at the time will then require the court proceedings now, because once the matters are concluded, and Takatso will at the time then be fighting that they have been appointed and what the matter be taken to court, and more expenses then will in fact be incurred. So it's one of the reasons that motivates perhaps my view that the advice from Andy that says we should insert no unqualified support to the transaction. That one for me will be very much critical, because it says whatever would have taken place as a committee or individual of us, we are in fact exempted if ever there is anything that in fact may at the end of the day may be interpreted as a corruption. Thirdly, Chair, I like the opinion by the AG. So those two, in fact, are to be included. That the minister to develop a kind of a framework, because there is no clear legislative provision for the SOEs in terms of selling some of the non-cores, the non-core assets. No policy at all for the disposal of share, or rather of shares. As well as that, the AG, because these are things for noting, the AG does identify risks in the transaction process. So all those chairs, are to be factored in the sense that we need to have, you know, I'm not saying that people can't write reports, but you need a report that in fact is not open-ended, a report that will be very apt and to the point, and which the speaker will be in a position to take a very decisive kind of a position here, Chair. Otherwise, my view is we all agree that let's write a report. It looks as if we all agree. We write a report, include some of these things that the legal advisor has given us, and some other points, in fact, as a report now coming from the committee. Then we'll hear thereafter from the speaker whether the speaker reassigns us to continue with our work, or the speaker decides to veto and take any other option that she may feel it's right. But this one of ours to be exempted from the decisions that may be taken from now, because Chair, it was in a full-fledged committee meeting where we took a decision that we will request that in fact the transaction be suspended. Unfortunately, that has not taken place. Perhaps the minister, when minister is, but I'm not saying that there is something, but the minister is ready to meet with us. I want to believe that he can volunteer and write us to say, let's meet tomorrow or let's meet any other day. He has all those reports requested ready, and then perhaps that will be the best approach for the minister to do. Otherwise, Chair, I'm happy with the proceedings. We wish ourselves the best. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, sorry, it's my gadget problem. Thank you, Honorable Kumede. Now it's Honorable Mhlongo.
Thank you, Chair, and the other committee members and all the colleagues on this platform. Chair, I think we must first state that we're very disappointed that it's almost end of the term and we have not concluded on this matter. Now, for us, it's clear that the minister deliberately delayed the committee on this matter, for he knew that there were documents he wanted to keep hidden from us. Now, Chair, in all honesty, the committee could not be able to reach a conclusion on the matter based on the fact that we had lack of information. Now, any other information we have on the share sale in purchase agreement, on the shortlisting process, and any other matter is hearsay, Chair, because it's not official information. that we have from the department and the minister, because the minister refused to share this information with us. Therefore, it will be important to then say that we propose to, like it's already been proposed by Honorable Mauto, that we have an ad hoc committee. We ask the Speaker to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate this matter, but also to put the Takato transaction on hold up until all the investigation on this transaction have been done and all the necessary documents that were requested by the committee have been provided and scrutinized. That's when a final decision will be made on how then the ad hoc committee will say they must proceed or they must abandon this whole transaction altogether. But at this point, it's very sad, Chair, that the minister enters into confidential clauses with third parties at the interest of those parties and not. Oh, there's some noise, Chair.
You don't mind me?
Eh?
Okay.
Chair, you are the one who's talking. Can you mute yourself?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Mute, Chair, mute, Chair.
Thank you.
Now, Chair, it was incorrect and really I smell a rat on why would the minister enter into a confidentiality clause with third parties and not have the interest of government, because the minister's first interest should be to protect the interest of government, should be to protect the interest of SAA. But he did not do it. He then went and entered into a confidentiality clause with these third parties, knowing full well that he is accountable to Parliament, is accountable to the committee, will need to hold him accountable on this transition. Now, he's making it difficult for him to be held accountable on this transition because he entered deliberately, he entered deliberately on this confidentiality clause. And we reject it, Chair. It must be noted that we've rejected it, and we reject the sale of SAA in its entirety. We want SAA to remain a strategic SOE of government, because we all know that transport plays a critical role in the economy of the country. Therefore, we want to keep SAA as 100% owned by the state, and we reject this. And we therefore support the proposal of writing in our recommendations of the report to the Speaker that we were asking the Speaker to establish an ad hoc committee to investigate this matter, and perhaps support the proposal that we as a committee we distance ourselves from this transition altogether, and we have not given the minister a go ahead to enter into any agreement of this nature, and that the transition be put on hold until the ad hoc committee has been established and they've made their findings. And based on their findings, we'll then have a way forward on how to move on. And Chair, I think it's very important that in our proposal of the ad hoc committee is that there's now Auditor General, now a Chapter 9 institution that has crucial findings on this transition. So we can't ignore the findings of the Auditor General and just continue with the story that we're just going to take the word of the minister and agree to have the transition and all necessary documents after the transition has been done. It will be, I'm afraid, Chair, it's going to be too late if we allow this transition to continue and we allow that minister is going to come and give us the necessary documentation that he's holding them in his secret somewhere and come after. It will be too late, Chair. So we ought to have these documents now, scrutinize them, and then after we scrutinize them, then the ad hoc committee will then establish a means on how to move forward. But we support the recommendation of the ad hoc committee and the recommendation that this whole process be put on hold altogether up until a final presentation is made. And Chair, I don't think the minister is going, even if we can write to him again, he's not going to give us the documents. He has made it clear to the committee that he does not want to share these documents with us. Therefore, writing to him, you've done your work, Chair. You've wrote to him numerous occasions, and it was on his side where he refused to share the documents. There's nothing more you can do on your side. So let's send the report to the Speaker and ask the Speaker to then establish the ad hoc committee to investigate this matter further, Chair. Otherwise, we can't just surrender our SAA, surrender it to the private sector, Chair. We know what happens when Mango Airlines was out of business. Flying became very expensive. Not all ordinary South Africans can now afford. You must check the prices of a flight ticket from OR Tambo to Cape Town. Very expensive. So if we allow SAA to just be sold like this, Chair, I'm afraid a lot of our population will continue not having to afford a luxury of flying in South Africa. I call it a luxury, Chair, because it's very expensive. So we rely on SAA to transport our people so that our people can be able to fly. So it must be is a strategic SOE that must be protected, Chair. And we couldn't do our job, not because we didn't want, but because the minister refused to hand over documents that were critical and crucial to us. Therefore, this Takato transition must be investigated, and we support for it to be investigated and be put on hold until the ad hoc committee has finalized their findings. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mkongo. Honorable Piri. Sorry.
My hand is up.
Before Honorable Piri, Honorable Buthelezi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, and greetings to my colleagues. I will be very brief, Honorable Chairperson. I think my contribution is aligned with all the previous speakers from the first speaker, Honorable Mkwanazi. We have heard the presentation from the DG, and the minister, in fact, has refused to cooperate with the committee. So I therefore support the view that the matter is taken back to the speaker so that an ad hoc committee will be appointed to dig deeper into this matter. But while we are taking the matter to the next level, I wish to submit, Honorable Chair, that here we have seen a minister who has an arrogance that I can't explain, and a minister that has treated this committee with disdain. I do want to submit that. Thank you so much.
Honorable Inkosi Buthelezi. Now is Honorable Piri.
Thanks, Chair, once again. Allow me to switch off my video. As I've said, I'm on the road. I had to drive and stop somewhere. With your permission, let me switch it off. Chair, can I? Chair, I think...
Yes, you can, Honorable Piri.
Okay. Chair, I think we are all in agreement here. We are agreeing that we did our work, but let me start by welcoming back Honorable Mautwe. It's a long time. We have not been with you. Welcome back, Honorable Mautwe. Chair, the agreement...
Chair, can I be protected here?
Withdraw?
No, come on. You are just being welcome. It's a nice thing. Honorable Piri is very nice to you. Please be nice to her. Continue, Honorable Piri.
Thank you, Chair. All the speakers, we are in agreement that we did our work, we did our best, and we only have a one-sided story. And when the minister was presenting, he voluntarily, and it's on record, that he will submit document. Unfortunately, Chair, he did not, meaning that even though we can evoke Section 56A, the reason that I wanted the state law advisor to say it, it's because I needed to be sure. I think it's already something that when you wrote as a PC to him, that's what we were doing. So it does not give us a luxury anymore to evoke it again. We've been doing that. We might not have been writing it in letters that we are saying we are waiting for more information or you must avail yourself. As all the speakers have said, we took more time than anticipated. We should have concluded long time back, but without cooperation of the minister, we had to drag the matter. And today we are sitting here and not even concluding it. But the main focal understanding is that we need to write back to the speaker as much as the speaker has written to us to handle the matter in response. But Chair, I want to caution colleagues that even though we can recommend the ad hoc committee, how many months are we left with? Let's remember, honorable members, that we are about to finish a term, the sixth administration. Next year, when we come back, all of us, we are from different parties. We need to go back and campaign. And as much as we have dragged, even this ad hoc committee that we want or we can recommend, do you think it's going to conclude its work before we go to elections? I doubt, based on the corporations. Two, Chair, it's with the experience that I have, and I'm glad today we are agreeing with each other. There's no one who will even be tempted to take the matter to court. But it can be vice versa. We can be taken to court by the ministry. Because there's a tendency when you conclude something, when you make a recommendation, even on the National Assembly, there's issues to say, we're taking you to court. And it even drags the democracy or the accountability that we must do as members of parliament on behalf of South Africans. So I think it is clear, Chair, we need to write back to the Speaker and say this is how far we've done. We only have a one-sided issue that the Speaker will determine. Whether the Speaker will determine the ad hoc, whether the Speaker might not determine the ad hoc, it will be up to her, because now it will be on a table. And the legal state law advisors and legal team of Parliament will advise correctly. But one thing that I want to agree, if it's not going to take this committee and government to court, is to hold the process that was done by SAA. I want to agree with honorable members that it's not transparent. Even ourselves as members of the portfolio, we can't even respond properly. We can't even talk to, I will never be in a position to explain better to a citizen that what happened to the Takatso. Every day, on a daily basis, you get new faces. You were told the consortium is black owned. You were told the consortium is for disadvantage or whatsoever. The consortium had more money to invest than others. But on the other hand, you get a different story. The consortium actually, they did not pop out any money. Actually, they've got those who are advantaged, not, you know, there are a lot of stories, but we don't want to entertain that. Currently, the main issue is that we are unable to finish a well-documented resolutions to the Speaker based on the fact that we only have one side story. We don't want to take a side, but we were going to have a proper report if we got both sides. But I want us to land and agree, because there's an agreement here. Let's write back to the Speaker that we are unable to do this. The Speaker, within her powers, will recommend, and whatever that she'll recommend, will abide by it. And as we are advised, even by the state law advisors. Chair, I want to land there, but and express myself as a member, as an individual, that I'm also not happy and seriously disappointed with all these processes, with all the behavior that we got, that we are not getting proper responses. I remember there was a time when we agreed on a meeting, then the minister is not available. Sometimes, you know, you get the fact that when you go, you want to go to SAA, even though we can force to go to SAA today, Chair, who are we going to get answers from, because basically it seems like SAA, you'll just get people, the new board. That is a new, you know, the fact that is a new board. You might not even get answers, but we have a right to even go there unannounced. But when we are ready to go there, we are told they are not ready. Who are we waiting for, Chair, to accept that we must go? Beside the processes of Chair of Chairs. But if we are ready, the Chair of Chairs has agreed for a portfolio to go and do its oversight, then one thing, the letter comes back to say, SAA is not ready. Is it how we must work, or is it vice versa? But Chair, based on the fact that now I'm disappointed, I don't want to lie, I've lost hope in all these things without getting a proper response, and we are trying by all means to be lenient and want to understand this process, but I'm disappointed. So I want to agree with the fact that let's take it back to the Speaker. The Speaker will make her determination whether she appoint the ad hoc, but on my side, ad hoc will be a waste of time, it will be a waste of resources, more resources from the Parliament, based on the fact that time, the cooperation, and we don't have that luxury of time, but we need to have a recommendation, and the Speaker must recommend on the basis that it will be more fast-tracked and have a proper resolution and make South Africans to be happy about the work that we are doing. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Perry. Now is the last person, I think is Honorable Malinga.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Greetings to yourself, members of the Portfolio Committee, our guests, and the media on platform. Hope I am audible, Chair. My network is very unstable, hence I'm requesting not to open my video. Am I audible, Honorable Makata? Am I audible, Chair?
You are loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. Let me welcome the advice from the legal advisors, Chair, and say we have been seized with this matter as the Portfolio Committee, I don't know for how long. Chairperson, my first question will be, are people of South Africa going to take us serious when we say whistleblowers must come forward when they see something that is amiss wherever that they are employed? Whereas us, the last sphere of government, the national legislators, we could not protect one of our own who came as a form of a whistleblowing in terms of this deal. Is South Africa going to take us serious, Chair? Chairperson, I also want to concur with what Honorable Mkhwanazi said and all the other committee members. And say, Chairperson, when the report is written, it cannot be the Speaker who determines what should happen. The report that goes to the Speaker must go with the recommendations. One, the recommendation of in camera with the Minister. Two, the recommendation of establishing an ad hoc committee to further dig into this deal. Chairperson, I want to check, man. Remember the DG or the former Mr. Takuti was dismissed because of this deal. So doesn't LRA kick in here? Because that means it was unfair dismissal. And two, Chairperson, when he came before the Portfolio Committee, he told us how much he has paid for his legal services. Shouldn't he be reimbursed? Because it means that what he was saying, as much as it's one-sided, the story is one-sided, as much as the story is one-sided, it means there's something amiss about this deal. Because if there was nothing clouded about this deal, I think the Minister was going to come before the Portfolio Committee and maybe explain to the Portfolio Committee that maybe some of the dealings on the contract cannot be made public because they had signed a disclosure agreement. But the fact that nothing has come before the portfolio committee, it makes one raises their eyebrows, Chair. Chairperson, I am almost covered by all the speakers that have spoken before me. And say, Chairperson, I think this has taken us too long. And I think that your office will move with speed into informing the speaker of our challenges in concluding this matter and make the recommendations. And Chairperson, I think the fact that is brought to us by Undabezitha Usheng must also find its expression on your recommendation to the speaker, because I don't think that as the portfolio committee we oversight the department, but who do we oversee when the person who's supposed to give us information refuses to come before the portfolio committee with no concrete excuse or apology, Chairperson, which makes the work of the portfolio committee to be very, very difficult. So my advice, Chairperson, or my take on this matter is that silence means consent. It means what the DG has said is what really, really transpired, because even in the court of law, an accused is given a right to reply or face his accusers. So since Tina, we did not have this, Chairperson, I think the recommendations of the portfolio committee should be, as I have outlined, Chair, the section 56 to request information and to summon a person. I don't know how we're going to summon somebody who has decided not to come before the portfolio committee after several letters have been written to them. But Chair, you must remember that South Africa is looking at us. Is looking at us as if Tina, we are lenient. And South Africa needs to know that as this portfolio committee, we did our best to try and find the truth from what happened to their entity, like Honorable Graham Murray said. SAA belongs to South Africans, not to individuals. If a government saw an opportunity to save SAA, they should have brought to this portfolio that there is this opportunity to save SAA. These are the advantages and disadvantages. And Chairperson, to say we must put on hold the deal. There are employees there, Chairperson. What happens to the employees when the deal is put on? It's what we must also apply our minds on. That the employees who are currently under the employ of SAA, if the deal does not go through, what happens to them? Remember, at some point they were to get their severance packages, others had to lose employment. One time, I think we were in the portfolio where Piri said she flew to Cape Town, she was served by same hostess, came back to Cape Town. It means these people, they don't have even leave days. So what happens to such people there? Because we are also concerned about the employees in this SOE, Chairperson. So I will end it there, Chairperson, and say I was mostly covered. And I think your recommendations will make the speaker to see that we did our best, but we were failed by what we were supposed to get from the executive. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Malinga, and thank you to all honorable members. I think, honorable members,
Chairperson, I'm sorry, my hand has been up for about half an hour.
No, you don't. You don't do that. You know, Mos, you have been in this committee for a long time. You don't do that. I gave you an opportunity to make your own presentation, and everybody did the same. But you are claiming to have been having a hand for 30 minutes. Was it a point of order?
No, Chairperson, it was not a point of order, sir. I wanted to just add something to your advantage as the committee, if you would allow me that.
Yeah, let me give you, not because you've been there for 28 minutes.
Okay,
but because
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much indeed, Chair. Thank you. Chairperson, I was just going to say, we all understand that the wheels of Parliament turn rather slowly. And perhaps in your recommendations, I was going to ask you, with due respect, if you would also consider adding some form of a timeline as to, the strategy and the plan around moving forward, purely because we know that Honorable Pravin Gordhan has made it clear, Chairperson, that he's not coming back after April and after the elections. So by you putting a timeline, so we could maybe speed this matter up, because we obviously owe a strong reply, like other colleagues said, to the taxpayers of this country. That is all, and I want to thank you for considering that. Thank you so much again, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Isaac. Honorable members, I appreciate your contributions. It was not an easy process. It was a blood-sucking process. It was a very difficult process. Mind you, we're dealing with two individuals whom we started with them in 2019 and working very positively with them. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves in this quagmire, having the committee to investigate on the allegations and so on. But we took this task and we decided to be very patient with everyone. And we also deliberately decided to be open and fair to all the parties affected. We didn't want to bulldoze or push anyone with a neck, but to give people space to prepare themselves and to make their presentation and so on. I had to personally remove our portfolio committee secretary and replaced him with the content advisor, because there were some doubts about his neutrality on the matter. And I had to do that in order to give credibility and integrity to this process. Though even that was not a serious thing, but I wanted this process to be smooth, and I wanted this process to be fair. I wanted this process to be democratically and everything. Therefore, I asked Mr. Muchumi to step aside on this matter, and he asked the services of the content advisor to be the one who is acting as a secretary of this committee. That is how we wanted this process to be smooth, how we wanted this process to be credible, how we wanted this process to be above board. Well, anywhere where there are allegations are tested not only by one's word against the other. It's not always possible to test allegation. The most important part of testing the validity of the allegation is also evidence. If there is no evidence, it's very difficult to determine whether one has punched the other or not. You have to get something that is. Otherwise, the court normally will throw it back to the investigators to go and re-investigate or continue investigating. Now, in our case here, we could not really get, it was merely a word against the other work, it was very difficult to get tangible evidence. In fact, with the DG, there were some evidence that were thrown in the form, as the legal advice mentioned, in the form of SMS between himself and a certain gentleman. But all that has to be counted by another concrete evidence. That's why we were very, very patient. We wanted these things to come. Writing those letters to the minister, asking this and that and that. We're doing that with respect and appreciation of the ministers, the credibility and the integrity, and we didn't want to push him. We wanted him to acknowledge, to understand our situation and our responsibility as the parliament, that we are not just gonna be accepting, because these things come home at times not friendly with the person who have made such mistakes. We wanted to be very, very careful. That's why each and every time we have to go and use the parliament legal advice, that here we are. How do we move from this? And then the legal advice will advise us, and then we just try to continue. It was sometimes frustrating to continue writing a letter on the commitment that was already made that A, B is going to happen and not happening. It was not easy. But now, honorable members, this committee is unanimously agreed that this portfolio committee on public enterprise is unanimously agreed that it is unable to provide an unqualified support on the process of this particular transaction, meaning that what we still have at our hands that is tangible is the allegation. The minister hasn't helped us to take this allegation out of our window. We still have this allegation, and this is the only thing that we have as a portfolio committee. Hence, we agreed that let's take this process forward by concluding our work and send, not necessarily concluding, but also report to the speaker that here we are, and then we can't get any assistance from the minister. But also, honorable members, I do understand that this thing of ad hoc committee members that are raising is important. I don't want to us to feel, to look like we are rubbishing that. It's a very important, but we cannot, as a members of parliament, as a body of parliament that has been given a responsibility to do this investigation and outsource our responsibility. It is our responsibility to get out of this problem as we have been tasked to do so. Therefore, we have to continue doing the basic things. Like from here, we're supposed to write to subpoena the minister. While we give this, but we have to continue subpoenaing the minister. We cannot just go to ad hoc committee without having gone to that legal support in the form of subpoenaing a person, forcing a person legally to do something. I think first we have to undergo that process. That's why I think we'll be jumping a gun if we just come up with, we don't know even the chief whip, the speaker, what he will be saying in relation to this, whether he still wants us to continue or he thinks that, well, your job is enough now, let's go to the ad hoc committee. Let's be open-minded. Let's continue. It must be him or her who is taking this responsibility to the ad hoc committee. But ours is to continue doing our work. I think we have to understand that. But I want to thank you all for this contribution. But before I close the meeting, in case there is anything, because I think we unanimously agree here, except this part of our committee, which is not necessarily an opposition party. I don't think we literally, I mean, we absolutely against ad hoc committee, but I think we still have a role as a committee to play, even in the form of forcing the minister legally to provide us with the necessary documentation, including, if it's possible, to account in camera to us as a committee, because if we have that responsibility, we've got those powers to do so. It's not only the ad committee that have those powers, we still have those powers to do that particular responsibility. I just want to check with the legal advice that is there anything that he thinks that we must add or not, or illegal on our resolution, because we have our recommendations now. We just want to check with him if out of all those contributions, is there anything illegal? Mr. Tejan.
Morning, Chairperson and honorable members. Chair, there's one thing I need to just clarify, is the fact that the documents that we are still looking for have never been summoned. In other words, the Chairperson is correct that we have not exercised all the powers that are given to the committee in terms of the Constitution. I mean, I need to agree with that. Because remember, Chairperson, once we issue a subpoena, then the entire landscape, Chairperson, changes, in the sense that if we don't get those documents, Chairperson, then it's an offense in terms of the Powers and Privileges Act. And of course, anyone who commits an offense, such an offense, is liable to a fine or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 12 months, or to both the fine and the imprisonment. So Chairperson, we have not exhausted this route. We've been writing sweetheart letters. Look, and Chairperson, you are right in saying we have had to respect also the doctrine of separation of powers. But I think that route, Chair, we've exhausted. We need the committee now to exercise, Chairperson, some stick approach, and that's why, Chair, I'm of the view that we subpoena these documents, as you've correctly said, because it remains our constitutional responsibility, Chairperson, to do so. But Chairperson, regarding the point as to whether the march which the committee has embarked on is legal or not, Chairperson, you are entirely within your rights to do that which you have all suggested. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Techana. Honorable members, I think we reached the end of our meeting. Can I declare the meeting closed? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Long live the chair.